Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. This is part 2 of my interview with convicted spree killer Chander Matta. Do you remember when and how you were arrested?
I had just come back from my parents. He had gone to temple. I drove my own car out there to the temple with them. Left, and I had come back. I left early from there also to go home. My brother was with me, and when I got home, the police were already there. And that was something I'd been doing a lot of. If we went to the same place, I would either go in my own car or leave early and come home for no reason. Just not want to be there. And this is like when we're going to family events or gatherings. I would just leave early and go home. That was something that kind of became normal. And that particular day, my brother was with me, and we came home, and they were already there.
So after you were arrested and taken to jail, were you kept away from other offenders due to the high-profile status of your case?
Well, they asked where I would go. I was put in a block with, I think, 12 or 15 other people. I don't know. There was more people there. They did not want me, I think, by myself, because they said they felt that whether I was suicidal or not, and I said I didn't know. I think more or less the whole week or 2 weeks after the crimes, I'm still trying to process what's going on. I'm just in my own little world of saying, this ain't right, something's not right, something's wrong. And at that point when I think I got arrested, it was a relief. But I was put in a block setting with, like I said, maybe 10, 15 people, somewhere in between there.
So when you did go to court, do you remember what the court proceedings were like from your point of view?
So much of a haze. Lawyers are telling you not to say anything. You got therapists or psychologists coming at every direction. The jail has got his own therapist, and the therapist there is trying to talk to you, and your lawyers and stuff say, I can't talk to you. I was even told at one point not to even go talk with the clergy people. That part of like the court proceedings, what's going on, it's just so much of a haze. I barely even see. Remember when I come in, I look, seeing my family there. I do remember a couple of some friends that I knew at high school that were there. Don't remember saying anything or anything else like that. One of my other friends, she said she was in the courtroom. She said, you walked right by me and you did not even see me. And I was like, I don't remember. As to what the hell is going on. How did this all happen in the first place? So the legal terms wise, no, I don't understand. I didn't understand any of that. I'm 20 years old at that time. I'm still stuck in my own fear of what I've even done.
While you were on trial, were you offered any type of plea deals before you were sentenced?
Not that I was aware of.
After you were sentenced to 3 life sentences, how did you react emotionally?
I don't remember. Once I was brought back to the cell, some officers came in a few minutes later. Once I exchanged my clothing and stuff, a lot of the guys that were in the block with me. This time it was a smaller block that I was in, maybe 7 people. Guys are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm just asked to a lot. So once I changed clothes and stuff, and I was in there, I don't know if I wrote anything down or anything, but a few minutes later, some deputies came in and went into my room, got me out. They had something that I had written on a paper, and I don't remember what that was. So they put me in a different block. It wasn't even a block. It was an observation room. That was where the mattress was on the floor and the control booth overlooked the little room at all times. They had other rooms with cameras on there, but I wasn't put in any of those rooms ever. I was put in this observation room where the control booth could watch me all the time, I think, for 2 days. Other than sleeping and eating when food is brought and then going right back to bed, I don't remember much after that. What I wrote on that paper, I don't know. I can't recall what I wrote, but even if something was written, maybe could have been something that was written days before on the paper, on a notepad. I'm not sure what they saw, but they wanted to put me in this observation room after that for 2 days. My family was not allowed to come see me during that time until I went back into the pod, into the block area. But just total, really just numbness.
Do you have remorse for the 3 homicides you committed?
Every day. The fact that I wanted to know why. Well, this is not normal, that what happened. I wanted to know why. This was not a robbery. This is not normal. And it took me a long time to get my whole head out of my ass to figure out and look at things and talk to people and to say, you know what, you got some deep issues of anger. I think my anger and rage, is worse than my depression. To come into terms with those and figure out how do you let go of those issues and problems, whatever they are, resentments toward who it might be and who it might not be. To just say forgive and move forward and to learn how to control your, problems. The crimes that I committed against 3 street women, those were the reasons why I chose to do that. At first, in my first 9 years of incarceration, I chose not to do any of that because I just chose to live in my own head, in my own darkness, and in shame, away from everybody. It got to a point where I couldn't do that no more. You have to face the facts of reality. The strength came from giving them the answers. Like, your life was not taken because somebody just wanted to rob from you. Your life was not taken just because somebody, because the court said you were a prostitute. That was not the reason. You were more. And I got to find the reasons why I did that. So every day in doing better is for them. I've been an academic tutor now for 20-some years, and every day it's because of them. That you want to try to help people for the wrongs you've done. I did not choose, if I wanted a job where I can make more money here, they have those in enterprise. I chose teaching. It's a form of way of giving back and helping. And it's because of those 3, because I know that that wasn't normal and it wasn't right, it wasn't normal, and they deserve better answers than what was given at trial. Trials, they spend more time during criminal trials just to prove you did it. But they don't never say why. They never go into the reasons of why did this happen, only to prove you did it. It's taken a long time, and probably 18, 19, 20-some years to figure out why, and the full answers are not even there. But a lot of the answers that I know that I needed healing, and finding those answers and going through why, it helped in the healing process. The healing process on this was not short-term. And like I said, for the first 9.5 years, while incarcerated, I just lived in my own stupidity and my own drunkenness and darkness. Because that's why I just chose to live in that shame and just let it be. But something in there snapped and woke me up. And, I was blessed at the same time. Again, just like when you asked about the childhood, I had some really pretty good people, even in DOC, some psychiatrists and psychologists that wanted me to open up. I did not always do so, but it took time to open up. It took time to trust other people. I think trust was the biggest factor, is that I had to let people into my own, hurt. And you don't want to do that because it makes you feel weak. But I'm at the point now, I don't mind you seeing that hurt, because that hurt that I had was a long time ago. But that hurt is gone, and part of it is helping and heal of having that remorse for what you did, because you realized it was not that it was wrong, but it was not right. That wasn't normal. Nobody just wakes up and says, I think I'll, take 3 lives today. Who does that? What's going on in your head? That's a good question. Now let's sit down and talk on what's up. Now, those were hard factors that I had to live in. So it's taken a long time to get there, but I think that remorse and the hurt for what I did to them and how they were looked at because of the crime, that hurt more than anything. And to give them the answers, not maybe necessarily for the courts or for anyone else, but for my victims, because they deserve better than what I did and what answers they were given, which were none. They already knew I did this to them. They wanted to know why. So hopefully with coming to these conclusions and, with prayer and meditation and thought, they know and they rest better. And I hope that would also help the families understand that, he wasn't just a killer. He was somebody that was broken and damaged and everything. And then if you look at it in prison, majority of the people in here are not natural-born criminals. Most people in here got some type of damage or brokenness, whether it's mental health, abuse, just not being raised right. It's all type of things. Lack of education, all of it. But we have to learn to overcome that. And some people do and some people don't. But the biggest way you overcome it is if you've got remorse for what you did, for your victims, if you feel for them of what you did. So, there's a lot of things I regret in this, everything. Like you said, with Sherry, where they said she was abused the worst, and I'm like, that hurts more than anything. Then with Jodie, with how young she was, did not know, but that's not an excuse, and they deserve better answers. Sherry, how trusting she was. How does someone that trusts you that much to do that, what she did, and you take that away in your actions? They deserve better answers.
If you could go back in time, is there anything you could have done differently in regard to these cases that would have had a different outcome?
Yeah. There were people that I did not know that I had, that I could have gone to if, I didn't feel like I could go to my parents. I didn't think they would understand. But there were people beyond that, and I never saw that. It hurts you and humbles you more to say, when you talk to people, it's like, why didn't you come to me? And then I say, well, I didn't think we were that close. That, no, we were. People in general, people that care. There are more people in the world. I mean, I know what things are. You look at the news in here, we think in here that things are angry and bitter and all of this, but there are more people in the world that care and are kind, and you can easily just say, hey, can I talk to you? Something's going on. I'm not in control. I hurt to the fact that I did not do that. it sounds, how does it sound, you and I come out of our houses in the morning, I say, hey, Andrew, how you doing? You say, I'm doing fine. And you say, how are you doing? I'm not doing good. This is what's going on in my head. We're afraid to talk about things like that openly in mental health. They want to keep putting money into bed spaces, but sometimes it's not just bed space you need. In mental health, one of the greatest things is the factor is even in here, trust. Who do you trust to go talk about these innermost hurt feelings or damage or things that may scare people about what's going on in your head? Who do you talk to? How do you talk to them? That's the part that nobody understands. But there's a lot more people that I had than I thought. Even today, in here, there's certain inmates I can go to talk to. There's certain staff members that, not all prison guards or prison security is what you think it is. Some of these people are good people, and they notice changes. And one thing that they do here in prisons is they try to put the same officers around the same inmates for good periods of time. That's a good thing, but that's also a bad thing. The good thing is when they can detect somebody is not functioning normal, they push and ask, what's going on? Something's not right. You doing all right today? And sometimes you'll get COs that don't do that or don't care enough, but then you have a lot that do. And maybe I'm just looking at a better thing in the world where, you know what, for those people out there that have a problem, they feel like that they can't, there's more people in this world that you can go talk to than you think. You've got to overcome that fear or that embarrassment or that shame of what you're thinking-wise is going on. It's not normal. It's okay to go say, hey, this is what's going on. I need to talk to you, and they can lead you to better help. I don't think there's people that will not care. There's more people in the world that care than that don't, and I think that's the biggest regret that I have is I had people that I could have gone to, but I did not look at and see in a way that I could have gone to these people, and that's the shameful part, that all of this could have been prevented.
Do you remember what it was like when you were on your way to prison, whether it was in a bus or a van?
I remember going, and when we rolled up at, my first facility was at Augusta Correctional Center, and it's like, okay, this is where my whole life is going to end right here. This is it right here. So what do I do with it? And like I said, the first 9 years, I did not do a very good job of dealing with it. I did not know how. I don't think the mental health staff knew how, although they tried very hard. But someone who's broken inside themselves, they don't want to trust and open up. So when I got to Augusta, again, I was put into, first they took me over when mental health talked to me. They wanted to put me in a medical unit for 24 hours. I don't think they even knew what to do with me. Was I stable enough to be in population? Or, they were afraid that I might do something to myself or to somebody else. And like I said, the first 9.5 years, I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to deal. I didn't know how to cope with my own self, much less prison. Did I have issues and problems of discipline and stuff? No, not really. But just functioning drunk and just functioning in my own solidarity. I mean, just not solidarity, but my own, not making friends with people, not opening up, just closing myself in. And it took a situation for me to open up. And that was the fact that I was transferred from Augusta to Red Onion State Prison. It was my psychiatrist at the time that felt that I do not need to be there. And for you to get moved off of that facility and I think I was there at Red Onion State Prison, which is like a lockdown facility, for 5 days. He moved hell and high water to get me off of there because he did not think I belonged there, and it wouldn't have done me any good, and nor DOC, because that's where high-level inmates were supposed to go. That was the new state-of-the-art. We know how to deal with these high-level inmates, and this is a lockdown facility where guns are present. But he did his best, and he got me off of there in 5 days. When I got back, my brother actually said, talk to him, open up and share, and please. And I think whether it was my brother that pleaded with me and said, hey, this guy's a good dude, or the fact that this psychiatrist went so far out of his way that I said, you know what, I got to open up and do something. I can't keep going. That was the changing point that led me to open up. Had I gone and stayed at Red Onion and stuff, I don't think I would be the better person that I am today. So it took a bad incident, but it took a really good person to step up and say, no, bring him back. And I think that helped a lot in my thought of change and saying, you know what, he did a lot for me, and I'm grateful, but I deserve to have answers given, and I deserve to have a better quality of life, even if I'm in prison.
How do you spend your time in prison these days?
These days, I am like super busy. Monday through Thursday, during the daytime. In the morning, I tutor basically GED. I'm in one classroom in the morning. I'm in another classroom in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm called out to go help in other parts of what is the education department. Right now, I am the most senior tutor. Not because I'm the oldest guy there, but there's guys older than me, but because I've been doing it so long, I've gotten pretty good at it. I mostly work best with the young guys. Part of me sees so much in some of these guys that are hurt and broken and wants to help them. And if it's just doing better in college, in schoolwork, that's great. So Monday through Thursday, I spend my time pretty much in that one building. Same Monday through Thursday, I'm involved in 2 different college programs. I'm taking different college courses. I'm working on a business plan with the University of Virginia program. I'm working on and writing a biodiesel business plan. Learning a lot so far. The business proposal plan is going very well. It's just not very profitable, but that's not about that. It's about what I'm learning and what I'm seeing. I chose to do, I don't know a whole lot about biodiesel, and in doing the research and reading and learning more about it, it went from creating this biodiesel for courier services within cities to dealing a great deal more in agriculture and farming. And I'm really learning a lot and liking and enjoying this part of it. It's a risky business, but it's a very, I think, rewarding business when you say you can take waste material of food and oils that we don't use as humans or dispose of and create energy with it. That was the whole thing that got me into it. is take something that people throw away and turn it around and use it for something better. I'm in that. Like I said, I'm in English. I'm in English 112 now, and the greatest factor I've seen where my writings and my English work and all of this is so much better and greater is because of the use of computers and laptops. Better yet, even than that, is people that are around you, the teachers and security staff that might know you and talk to you and see what you're doing. They come over, look, while you've got all your paperwork around, and they're like, "You're really doing this?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then they help you out. They give you comments on it. They find something on, and they'll give you a printout. This is the factor of whether you want to look at these prison guards, these staff here, security staff, as prison guards or people that want to help you. For the most part, the staff here, for the most part, they want better for you, because the better you're doing, the easier their days are and their job is. They don't want to have problems. They don't, and those are in keeping you busy, but keeping you busy doing good things. So they sometimes, staff, they'll get involved in what you're doing and reading and helping you with research and, looking things up, or just encouraging you. When we have graduation, a lot of the staff will come down there just to peek their head in. Certain students that are young guys mostly, they get one and they say, "Oh, he's in your class? You better get on him." That, it becomes like, "Hey, if you don't tighten up, it's so-and-so." It's more than teaching. It's mentoring. It's fathering. It's being an uncle. Sometimes, and it's a lot more emotional that you have to get connected with your students, especially when you've got students that are doing so well, and then they take pride. I think pride is one of the biggest things, or, they start feeling better about themselves that you see a reward of. And Monday through Thursday, that's where my days are spent. Fridays I try to take a morning off, but then the other 3 days are spent doing a lot of homework, reading, whether I'm writing something or studying for math. It's a busy, but it keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you away from the negativity around here. Right now, DOC is having, not just in Virginia, but all across the country. It's no different than out there. You have drugs and fentanyl and all this mess. We have had, since the pandemic started, I've seen a lot of guys just go downhill. The pandemic also, I want to add, is one of the times that I'm really proud of myself. I would have thought that my depression would have overcome and taken things, and I would have fell into it, but I stayed busy. I stayed well. I concentrated on my own reading, writing, things that I was doing, and I stayed focused. So that I'm really proud of myself. But at the same time, I saw others go the other way. They lost. There's a few guys I know that lost their lives messing with the drugs. That's a big issue. I agree with Bill O'Reilly when he says we spend far too much money trying to stop drugs to come in, but not for treatment. People in here hurt. They not everyone's an addict. People, I think there's a small portion that are addicts that have chemical dependency problems. But for the most part, I think guys use it to cope, and they don't know any better ways, or nothing's given to them. Everybody's not blessed to spend their days like I am, as far as, in the school area, around teachers, around civilian staff, around, people look at, well, you're up there with females all day. I'm like, yeah. And then the people that you're around, when they say, look, if any of these reasons why you're incarcerated were true, you wouldn't be with us. We know you the way you are. That's something that's very, I don't even have the words to know to say, you know what, this person here does not see me for what I did 30 years ago. They see me as something far better that I'm able to do because teach and get in touch and connect with these guys. That's very, in itself, I don't have the words to say, you know what, that's trust. And they say, I've been in the hallway or whatever, and you're around staff, and they're like, and I'm talking about non-security staff, civilian staff, and they're like, I don't see you like that. They don't understand, like, they're not supposed to look up your crime, but they, that's human nature. But the fact that they do, and then they say, I don't see that in you. And then, you're like, that's humbling to say, this person doesn't see me like that because they're with me every day. They see me in and out. They count on me to help them. But people that don't even know me still look at me for something, for what I did 34 years ago. And even if it's family members. But that's the beauty of staying busy and staying good. Staying when you do things in a positive lane, you attract more people to you that want to be in a positive lane. The people in the left lane generally just go the other direction. So that's the healing part. And when people see that you're doing well and trying to do right, it humbles you and encourages you to even do more, to do right. Because you know what? There's a trust factor. They have trust in you. In committing my crime, I know the people I hurt. You talked about remorse. The remorse went beyond my 3 victims, their family members, my community. Even people that my teachers from school, they expected more from me. They remember in a way that you were supposed to be more than what happened. Why? And those are people you hurt. I had my resume was padded before I was incarcerated. I was working since the age of 15. Started at a drugstore, went to Montgomery Ward's to sales. When I was incarcerated, I was working at Reagan National Airport. So you're working at Reagan National Airport, you commit a heinous crime. You broke a lot of trust of a lot of people. That's a job that I had that I can never go back to. The FAA was like, no, because you're a convicted felon. But being a convicted felon in here, staying busy, being involved in the academic scene within prison and the therapeutic scene, also in helping people, it helps people to see you as something you had far more potential. I looked at myself before wanting a career perhaps in computers and doing, you have these visions of what you can do. Now I look back, I said, you know what, I might have been good if I had gone to college, a little small college, I'd have been good as a football coach and a high school science or math teacher. I'd have been happy with that because I'm really good at teaching. I'm really good at connecting with people better than what I thought. It took years to do that. It took years to overcome my own darkness or problems and realize other people have problems also and to see them and help them. But I think that remorse and we're just wanting to do better because you know what, that potential was always in you and you messed it up. But you can always overcome from that. And that's the reason you do it. There's people that, they've done nothing with themselves while they've been incarcerated. I can at least say in The 34 years that I've been incarcerated, I've got some really good accomplishments. I've come further than anyone probably might have would have thought. Knowing and seeing me in those first 9.5 years, I am far in a better place. And, in 2018, there was a shift in the law, and I was granted parole hearings, parole eligibility, because the law that was written that I was under was unconstitutional. It was not a change in the law. It was a change in the Supreme Court's interpretation of the law. And I've had 3 hearings so far. Things seem like they fall in place because you're doing good. You don't get good luck and good things, blessings come your way because you're doing dumb things. I think when you're working towards something better things are coming your way. And I did not, never thought I would have a parole hearing. Now I do. So life shifted in 2019 to say, you know what? It's a real good possibility I could go home. I am so glad that I took those years prior to 2019 in going through the process of trying to fix myself, to find answers. So I was in a good place when this happened. This parole eligibility came about. I could have been in a place where I was like, I'm not in a good spot to even go talk for parole, but I was. And that came because you have, you want answers as to why your crime happened. You want answers to give to the victims. So that's a consciousness of yourself, of having a mindful conscious of things bigger than you. You got to put others before you. And that was the biggest factor I did. But spending the days, it's tiresome at the end of the night, at the end of the day, but there's not much going on after 10, 11 o'clock anyway. But, I'm 55, and the learning and the growing has not stopped,
So how is your mental health nowadays?
It's in a good spot, I'd say. Every day is a different thing, You learn to cope. Like I said, you learn to cope. Every day is not the same. Every day is what you make it. If you want to look toward the negativity, you're going to go toward the negativity. I think having the job in education, helping the people that I help, and having students that are motivated to learn, and having people around that care enough to push me forward, it makes for a better mindset of doing things. I'm not just doing it for the money. You're not going to get rich at any job in prison, but you'll get certain satisfactions. This morning, I went in to work. I went in a little bit late because of medical. I had to go to medical. I go in. 2 of my students have overtaken the class as far as they're doing coordinates. They're solving for the line equation, and it's 2 of my guys when I walk in causing the most ruckus, saying this is the answer, and they're showing the rest of the class, including the instructor there, how to do it. And I'm like, why did I walk in? And they're like, these 2 are your, creation. I'm like, look at the board, and everybody's like, they don't understand how they got the answer. Well, the 2 students are actually explaining the problem to even one of the tutors. And I just go back and sit down. I sit back and I smile. I'm like, they got it. That's why. They worked for it. That's a satisfaction that helps your mental health that, I did something good with these 2 guys. They can do linear equations that most of even some of the couple of the tutors are having problems with. That's a satisfaction you got to take as a good thing, and it makes you smile. So you take that little thing and you make it carry it as long as you can. Just like I said, the biggest factor is depression, staying away from it. The bad part about parole hearings is they can be disappointments when you have your expectations and then they give you reasons that you cannot change, or reasons like, what I had this last parole hearing, that I needed further education and more work experience. 28 years of tutoring is not enough work experience. It makes you, but you learn to stay away from your own depression. Don't get angry over it. I'm not angry for the reasons or the turn down. I understand that the parole thing is a process, and it's either going to happen or it's not. But what I can't let it do is discourage me or make me into a bitter person. And you see a lot of people in here over the years, the bitterness, the anger, things happen in other people's lives. You lose people and they're left in here alone. Things are hard.
Is there anything you would like the public to know about yourself or any of these cases?
Just that I am not what I did. I know society has a way to look at prisons and prisoners, and at one point in our country we had to lock them up, throw them away the key mentality, but that cost society even more. Majority of people that I'm a little bit lucky when you ask, like, I come from a background, and there's a lot more like me that come from a better background as far as education, understanding, than some. One of the greatest lines I ever read was probably in Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. Never look at others because you were not, they may not have been, it goes in the lines of, not everyone was blessed with the things you were in life. So don't look down on people because they wind up in here. A lot of people that are in here are not criminals. They committed criminal acts because in some ways people didn't know how to deal with themselves, their emotions, their whatever was going on. They had difficulty coping. And some people spend time fixing that, some that don't. I did. The resources may not always have been there. You cannot always, for those inmates or prisoners that are listening or family, you can't count on the system to always help you. Sometimes the resources in the system are just so overtaken, and you've got to find a way yourself. Whether it's, self-therapy in a book, you got to go find a clergy, go to the church, temple, synagogues, religious factors. But there's people in here that are hurt from the religious side. So who do you go to? It's a difficult process. We all have to find our own process. The greatest factor of reason to change is not because you can make parole, you can get your freedom. But I think you'll find greater satisfaction in knowing that you're a better person and that you're not what you committed years ago, that change is possible. Here recently in Virginia, we had a school shooting, and it was dealing, I think, in the second grade. It was in an elementary school. An elementary student brought a gun in. First thing the media and everybody jumped on was somebody has to be punished for this. Nobody asked what happened, why. Why did this kid do it? Why does a lot of and they wound up taking the mother, and the mother's going to spend time in jail away from the kid. The kid's not going to have his mother. Is that a good thing? There were issues and factors in that community or in that situation that really needed to be looked at. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be looked at as somebody should have to pay some type of consequence, because a lot of kids were traumatized. Their school teacher got shot. She's no longer able to work. A lot of bad things happened from it, but the worst thing that happened also was the fact that there's nothing done. How far did we go to healing that process? To say, why did this happen? What was wrong with this kid? That he was constantly snapping out at everybody. What's issues with this kid? What was the mother doing wrong in raising the child? This is hard questions we don't look at. Did we fail? Did she fail as a mother, or did we fail as a society to provide and help her with the way? Nobody knows how to be a perfect parent. I don't think there's such a thing. But how we process that and look out and take care and help each other, that's the greater part. Nobody's doing that. We're quick to punish. But we call everybody says, well, this is a God-fearing country. Well, this is a country sometimes in some states does not feel in forgiveness or mercy. One of the things that was told to me with my sentence in Hawaii and in a couple other states, I would already have been home. In other places like Texas and Florida, you would never have an opportunity to go home. A life sentence in the United States means 50 plus things. No life sentence is the same. No circumstances are the same. But people in here do change. People in here try to change. Resources for the Department of Corrections is so limited. Sometimes guys give up, and that causes more issues and despair in some of the drug issues that we have in here. So every day's a fight. But the fight is what you make it. I chose to make it one thing in the first 9 years of my incarceration. Things changed after that. There had to be a time when I woke up. And when I woke up, I started going through the process. I'm in a much better place. And, I wish that for others, and that's what I try to give guidance to. Some guys are doing what's called virtual life sentence. You're 30 years old and you're given a 50-year sentence. That's virtual death in prison. That's not an easy reality that some people can live by. And then the Department of Corrections has to deal with this problem. You can't blame, this is not really the problem of the courts, because the courts did their job, but in DOC, what resources and things are given. And the biggest thing is, how do people make a change? You have to find a way. I'm lucky that I found that way, and that I am not the person that committed the crime 30 years ago. That was a 20-year-old, really damaged, depressed, angry, raging young man. Broken inside, broken in a lot of ways. It took years to get to where I'm at. I'm proud of the fact that, I have people in here and my family members and all that trust and believe in me. That's what gives me going every day, is the fact that, people depend on me. People trust me. So that's the coping part that's great. Should I be given an opportunity to go home? That process continues. I can't let people down. And one of the biggest things that you want to avoid letting people down, when you need help, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing shameful to say, I can't do this, I need help. And that's the part of our society we don't do, where you're looked at as weak. It's not weakness. That's strength in asking for help.
Before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
I think once I started living in a better way, a friend of mine, he introduced me to mindful meditation. and you quietly go in and you find a deeper purpose. Once you figure out what's wrong with you, then you start that process. A lot of people will not admit the faults that are with them. I asked one of my supervisors one day when she kind of said something about another inmate, his problems. So I just asked her, I said, openly just tell me, what's my issues and my problems? I said, I need to know, because how can I fix those issues and problems unless I know what they are? I know what some of mine, what I feel are. So she just looked at me. I said, "What? Tell me openly. I mean, I gotta know. I don't want to know because it's your opinion. I want to know that because, I trust your opinion." So she told me, So I said, okay. So those were things to work on, and I wouldn't have asked if I didn't believe in her trusting in me, and that's part of the thing. Is how many people out there ask their friend, hey, what flaws do you see in me? We all have flaws. We all got to work at those flaws. Some people don't want to admit they have flaws. I know I do, and I've taken a long time to work at them and get better. And that's the basic thing. Just keep working at the flaws.
That was part 2 of my interview with convicted spree killer Chander Matta. For additional episodes, ad-free content, and more, head on over to patreon.com/unforbiddentruth. Go check out the website, www.unforbiddentruth.com. There's a blog section, a section to listen to all the episodes, and more. Thank you for listening. Unforbidden Truth.